Hey, welcome back. So we're gonna start on the face frame for the White Oak Vanity, and then this commission also has a tall cabinet that's going to be going into the bathroom with this vanity as well. We're gonna get started on that probably in this video as well. But first things first, let's knock out this face frame. All right, cool. So we're just going to start off breaking down some white oak, obviously, for the White Oak Vanity. I did this a little bit differently than I normally would. I would normally assemble a face frame before I attach it to a cabinet, but in this instance, I actually just broke down the lumber and then I fit the face frame material to the vanity itself. It's kind of inset on the vanity rather than being attached to the face. So a little bit different than I normally would do it, but it worked out pretty well. So yeah, here I'm just ripping down that white oak. I gotta say, I'm really enjoying the saw stop table saw. I just got this not too long ago actually, and it's definitely helped speed up my workflow. Having a full-size cabinet saw definitely comes in handy when you're making a lot of cabinets. But I got by for a really long time with my old Hitachi job site saw, and that is an awesome saw too. Yeah, I was rocking out in the shop while I was building this cabinet. Been getting back into Volbeat. I don't know if you've listened to them, but they're an awesome band. So yeah, I'm just figuring out which sides I want out, putting pocket holes on the back side of the sides that I don't want facing out. Obviously paying attention to grain and what looks best on the face of the cabinet. This is going to be the thing that everybody sees, so always put your nicest looking wood out, obviously. And yeah, pretty traditional here to use, or maybe not traditional, but very common now to attach a face frame to a cabinet with pocket holes. It's really what they're designed for. They're just great at, providing like clamping pressure, but also just like a quick and easy, but also very effective way to attach wood to a cabinet. So yeah, I'm just getting my clamps here. Obviously trying to pull the front of the cabinet in so that I can pull it square and fit those face frame pieces in there. And once I get them in the correct position, I'll measure about 1,000,000 times just to make sure that my clearances are correct and that I have equal spacing for all my drawers. And then once that's all figured out and perfect, I will screw in those face frame pieces. Okay, face frame pieces are up. I got everything spaced out, try to get the drawers even. The bottom is going to be one long drawer, comes out, and then on either side of the center portion, there'll be two sets of drawers. There'll be a set of drawers. So 4 drawers up top, 1 drawer at the bottom, and then this center portion here will be just a cabinet for plumbing. So there'll be the plumbing in the back there. I still got to put the plywood at the bottom and on the sides here to frame this portion in, and then you can start building drawer boxes. Yeah, I'm just breaking down a sheet of plywood here. I'm gonna frame in a section of the cabinet rather than having to frame in every single piece of the cabinet, just because there's going to be drawers everywhere. So cut down on the cost of materials by just framing in what'll be seen. So again, attaching to the front and the back of the cabinet with pocket hole screws, and you'll never see those. The pocket hole screws will be facing in toward the drawers, so the actual cabinet portion of the sink or the plumbing area, that'll just be plywood, and you won't see any of the fasteners there. And here I'm just ripping down a sheet of plywood for my drawer boxes. And yeah, again, just like having this full-size saw, you can see it's so much easier to just get a full piece of plywood up there, and it's so much better than trying to rip on a job site saw. I did that for years, so this is like, you know, my favorite new tool.
Okay, so got the first upper drawer box mocked up. Obviously, you can see the clips, so undermount drawer slides on this project, and I'm not going to go over how I build drawer boxes, just because there's not enough time in this, segment, but in the future, I guess I could do a video on how to build drawer boxes, but pretty straightforward stuff. It's got a dado around the outside, accepts a sheet of plywood for the base, and then there's a spot for the plywood to slide in, and it's flush against the back. So you can add the plywood into the back. Those are going to be in the back of the box, front of the box, and that'll get the that'll actually get the drawer front on it, which will be solid oak.
So yeah, like I was talking about earlier, this is that old Hitachi saw. Ever since I bought the new saw stop, I usually just leave the dado stack in this thing, just so I'm not swapping dado stacks and rip blades and crosscut blades. And this saw is what I built all my cabinets on for about 10 years. So it's an awesome saw. I've done everything you can do with that saw. It's also super mobile, so it goes in my work trailer. I take that to installs and when I'm doing remodels and stuff like that. Can't speak highly enough of that thing. So yeah, I'm just doing a little bit of that drawer assembly here. Again, everything's getting assembled with pocket holes, and you'll never see any of these pocket holes the way that I orient them. Again, it's just a quick way to do it. Very utilitarian, but very strong. Here you can see I'm ripping some more plywood. This is going to be the drawer bottoms. It's 1/2-inch plywood. I use 1/2-inch plywood for the entire drawer box, the sides and the bottoms. I just think it makes it more rigid, sturdier, box feels higher quality, in my opinion. So yeah, if you've measured correctly and um, everything goes to plan, this thing should just slot right in there. Perfect. So yeah, just rinse and repeat. They're all gonna go right into their slot.
As you can see here, we got all of the drawers fitted and the drawer faces fitted, and they're in there, basically in the rough spot here. Everything needs to be taken apart, sanded, reassembled, finished. But this is kind of what the vanity is going to look like. The only other thing I've got to do here is the customer actually wants a kerf cut in this door so that it matches the drawers. So this is just going to be a door that opens, but they want the door to match each side, so there'll be a line cut through here. It won't go all the way through the piece. It'll just be enough so that imitates the reveal that is on the drawers. Other than that, yeah, just taking everything apart, reassembly. All of the drawers work. I gotta put hardware on them still, but drawers are, they're ready to go. They just need finish and sanding. So let's get after it.
So typically I would have pre-finished a lot of this stuff, but went back and forth on a lot of different colors with the customer, and just wanted to make sure that they picked the color that they wanted. So I held off on pre-finish so that we could settle on a color. So yeah, it's a little bit of moving backwards here to take things apart and then reassemble them and finish, but you always want to make sure that the customer's happy with the job, so I'd rather do it that way and make sure everything is right. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm just making sure I go around all the edges, making sure that they're going to break, basically. So you just break down those edges so that finish goes over them a little bit more easily, but also, you don't want splinters or anything like that. So just making sure everything's smooth, ready for finish. And yeah, just taking my time, doing some hand sanding. Sometimes it's, you can't just do power tools. Sometimes you really do have to do some hand sanding. You can see the iron sitting there, so as I'm going through these boxes, I'm just making sure that there's no loose veneer edge banding. Yeah, you can see I'm correcting a little piece right there. So yeah, just making sure, attention to detail, making sure there's no edge banding sticking up or anything like that. And then yeah, just sanding those parts smooth. The edge banding is usually cut for 3/4 inch material, so it had to be cut down for the 1/2 inch material for the drawer boxes, so it just takes a little bit extra time, but yeah, as long as you do a good job, it looks really nice. Again, I'm just going through all these parts, making sure that they're ready for finish. I sanded everything as I went. This is just like a final once over, looking for any outliers, making sure that finish is going to go smooth. The last thing you want to run into is mixing up your finish and there's a rough spot and you got to break out your sander and now you're getting stuff dusty. It's just not the way you want to do it. So take the time, go through, make sure everything's smooth. Again, it's like sometimes the best way to do it is hand sanding. So those little sanding sponges that they make, they look like a computer mouse. Those things are great. I've been using that for a couple years. It's just more ergonomic, feels better in the hand. Highly recommend getting one of those things if you're doing a lot of sanding. And yeah, just breaking the edges so that finish will roll over smooth, and you won't get splintering, and you don't want anybody to get slivers. So yeah, just taking the time, making sure it looks good. And here we go with some finish. So the customer chose a mahogany color. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's got some red tones, some dark brown tones. It's a hard wax, like an oil finish. Those are like my favorite finishes to use, just because they're super easy to maintain. Also, if customer runs into a problem with wear and tear, they're very easy to repair and do touch-ups on. So that's why I always suggest those types of finish. Yeah, and just killing some time while the finish dries. Throwing some darts in the garage. It's always a good way to pass some time. Hey, so I know I skipped through a lot of stuff in this video. I'm really trying to get this done. This is a commission, so I'm trying to get this done. I'm also trying to make sure that I'm making like quality videos, but I got to get this done. So I had to skip through a couple things. Um, One of the things was like how I build drawer boxes. Um, I can go over that in a later video if people want to see that. It's not terribly complicated. I'm not doing dovetails. I'm not doing pins. I'm not doing anything fancy. This is just super utilitarian. This is stuff that's going to last a long time. It's well built, but it's just easy. There's nothing complicated about it. What I do is I cut my drawer boxes out. I cut the pieces out. I dado along the bottom for a panel. And when I build my drawer boxes, I'm building everything out of 1/2 inch material. I do not like doing the 1/4 inch material on my drawer boxes, mainly because it just feels flimsy, and it just doesn't seem like a quality piece when you've got a 1/4 inch piece of plywood at the bottom of your drawer box. I don't like that it rattles. I don't like that it like makes sound. I don't really like anything about it. So I do everything with 1/2 inch material. I prefer to use birch just because it's bright. It looks really nice for drawer boxes, and it kind of mimics maple. Certainly, if the customer wants a spring for maple, just do maple. But for everything else, definitely going with the birch because it just looks really nice and performs well, and it's a great material. So
Dados along the bottom to hold a 1/2 inch piece of plywood for the bottom of the drawer box. And then in the front of the drawer box, there are pocket holes with screws, and that's holding in the front panel to the 2 side panels, and then the same thing in the back. The only thing is, when you do that, you want to make sure you hide those screws so that no one's going to see screws, just because they're unsightly and it just doesn't look nice. So the screws are hidden behind that front drawer panel, and then the back screws are just in the back, so like you can't see them when you've got the drawer inside where the drawer is supposed to be. So screws in the front, screws in the back, a dado along the whole bottom, and everything's glued. You can opt out of gluing if you think that there's going to be a lot of use, or like something could get damaged and you may need to replace pieces and you want to be able to take it apart. But these drawer boxes do not take long to make, and if I have to make a customer a new drawer box because something got damaged, I will just make a new drawer box. So I'm in the camp of making it utilitarian, making sure it's strong. If something gets worn out, I've never had one of these break, but say, finish gets worn out or something gets broken, then I'll just build a new drawer box. It's not a huge deal. So, it's pocket hole screws, birch ply, and veneered around the top so that it looks like solid wood. It's just a quick way to make a drawer box, and it looks nice. It looks professional, and obviously the undermount drawer slides makes it look really sleek. So that's how I do my drawer boxes. And if anyone wants to see how I do those things, I can make a video on how to make drawer boxes. There's tons of YouTubers out there that have done that, and there's tons of YouTubers that do it exactly the same way as me. But if you guys want to watch how I do it, just put a comment down below and I'll build some drawer boxes. I've got another commission coming up after this, and then I've actually got a project that I'm going to be working on for a personal project. And that is going to require some drawer boxes. So maybe I'll go over drawer box, building in that video. But yeah. All right. So we got all of the drawers stained. We've got all of the drawer boxes polyed. We've got the frame stained and finished. All I've got to do is adjust drawers, make sure the reveals look perfect. And I really love doing this kind of stuff. This is inset cabinet. Inset work is definitely my favorite kind of work. It just looks really clean, I think. Personally, I like it. Undermount drawer slides, soft close, so just like really nice stuff. And then continuous grain across the entire piece. So again, talking about grain direction and making sure you keep in mind that stuff's going on. This is a piece of art as much as it's a piece of furniture in someone's home, right? So from the woodworker's perspective, making sure that you're keeping the grain in mind, and this has got continuous grain across the entire piece, so you can see that grain continue, and it just ties everything together, and it looks intentional, and it looks like you're trying to do something, right? So I really like doing that kind of stuff. It takes a little bit of extra time, but it goes a long way. So it just takes a piece from something that looks good and passable to the next level. It makes your stuff look good. So just take the time and make sure you're keeping all that kind of stuff in mind. But yeah, a hard wax oil finish. Also, like, the reason I do those kind of finishes is if there's ever a problem in the future, children, or you have an accident and you put a scuff in the finish, I can come out to the customer's home and I can touch that up. It's super easy to touch up. So yeah, I like those hard wax oils. They're great. So the only thing we've got to do on this now is figure out hardware. The customer is figuring that out. And then the next episode is going to be me building a concrete countertop for this thing. So you got to build the form. It's going to have a sloped sink. Yeah, so make sure you like and subscribe and follow along, because that's going to be a fun piece of this. So yeah, I hope you like the video so far, and I thank everyone who's watching for watching. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.